What's up and welcome to the 9th episode of the Ageless Wisdom Podcast. This is Josh.
And this is Lee.
And that's Leo. Anyways, today, let's see.
It's an inside joke. You have to be there to...
Yeah, you have to be here. But y'all aren't here, so... we're actually filming in, California at our studio. This is our studio set, We like to thank our producers and the video crew and everyone behind the scenes that does all this for us so we can make this happen for you guys.
And that was a joke, by the way.
That was a joke. See, I got you guys. It's just the three of us. But today it's just the two of us. Anyways. What are we talking about today?
What are we talking about today?
That's a good question. Today is an interesting and awesome topic, I think, because I feel like it applies to a lot of people, especially with this generation, because we're so caught up in social media, we're so caught up in living a life that we can post about, but not necessarily have to actually put forth actions because we can post about it on social media. So kind of where this episode is going to be based off of, the foundation of this episode is Proverbs 14:23. Do you know that by heart?
I know it, but do you know it by heart?
I know it by heart. Let me get it on my phone and...
Something about words.
So, Proverbs 14:23 says, "In all labor there is profit, but idle chatter leads only to poverty."
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of cool because the next verse as well says, "The crown of the wise is their riches, but the foolishness of fools is folly." I think...
You said, read that again, the crown?
Yeah, so it says, "The crown of the wise is their riches, but the foolishness of fools is folly." Do you need me to, compare that in another translation? Let's look at that in the NIV. "The wealth of the wise is their crown, but the folly of fools yields folly."
Yeah, but we're focusing on the
Yeah,
other verse.
we'll focus on the other one.
Okay.
But I thought it was cool because it's kind of hand in hand. And when it says riches and wealth, I don't think it's just talking about money, right? I think we talked about that in the previous episode, that wealth and riches is more than just finances, but also who you are, your character, and in all aspects of your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of things come to mind when you hear that verse?
So when I hear that verse, what comes to mind immediately is, I think I'd mentioned it a couple episodes ago, but in Spanish, the word for prayer is oración. And so in that word, you have two words. You have ora, which means to pray, and ción, which is derivative of acción, which means action.
Yeah.
And I love that because we as humans have a tendency to, in a way, look for the easy route in life, always. Always trying to find an easy way out. Because it's easy. And most of the times the easy way out is the wrong way. And so a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this too, where we try to, us as believers, we want God to solve all our problems. The problems we create. And so when I think about the verse, and I think about oración, which means pray in action, it just in that word is telling you what this verse is saying.
Yeah.
You can pray all you want, you can talk all you want, but at the end of the day, if you don't put action behind your words, then you're not going to receive anything. You're not going to obtain anything. Yeah. And so that's what I think of when thinking about the verse and how in my head I connect it with Spanish oración, because we as humans we do this a lot. It's easy to talk.
Yeah.
I'm talking
Absolutely.
right now. So, but actually doing something, that's the hard stuff right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, and I think social media is often taken advantage of because social media is like a magnifying glass, right? It can highlight good, but it can also highlight bad. And there are a lot of people that use it as a tool for ministry, use it for a tool for business, but there's also another side of the social media that can be used for bad, and that can create laziness and unproductiveness, right? And I think I've seen a lot of people that either they post on Facebook ideas and things they want to do, and they get the satisfaction of what they want to do through social media, through people congratulating them, that they don't even need to really have it.
Yeah.
Because they already got the satisfaction of, oh, well, people are
It's like
I
you
have
don't
it.
you don't have to you don't even have to have a relationship. You could just post about it
Yeah.
that you're in a relationship, and that's it. Like it.
Yeah, nobody actually...
That's where the saying comes from of if it's not on Facebook, it didn't happen, kind of thing.
Yeah, like nobody needs to know how the relationship is, who the person is, if it's a healthy relationship, toxic relationship. They see in a relationship on Facebook and, oh my goodness, congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think, is where we can get caught up in just the social media following. And I thought about this a couple months back. I went to look at a house with a friend, and we went to look at some houses, and they were just being built houses, and I was thinking to myself, I could easily take a picture in front of this house, post it on Facebook. Man, God is good, I'm so blessed, and pretend like I have a house, right? And I was thinking to myself, how easy is it to fake something?
Yeah.
And nobody would know the difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yet, when it comes to actually getting the profit of your work, you actually have to do something, right? You actually have to put forth work and labor to achieve those actions. And I think that's one of the things that the Proverbs is trying to tell us, is that with work, you get something out of it. Whether it's mental work and you get, you build character, or whether you're building who you are, your experiences, your skills, or you're getting paid for it. When you put forth the effort, you get something back. And I love that, because I think God created that solely so that we would have that reward for doing the work, right? We would have that sense of gratification when we actually get our hands and our minds involved in doing something and achieving goals. But social media has created that false reality and really messed it up for us.
Yeah, it as you're speaking, I was thinking about how, because it's not about what you do, it's why you doing it.
Yeah.
Right? Because I can go and help the poor, but I'm doing it just so I could take a picture and I can snap that on Facebook. Right?
Absolutely.
And so in that case, that's not a good action, right? Because I'm just doing it for something. And so social media, like you were saying, it's also that, okay, so then why are you doing what you're doing? Is it just to post it on Facebook, get likes and comments? Or are you doing it because you actually want that? And see, that's what I'm talking about, finding we as humans, we want to find the easy way out. Because with a good family comes a good reputation. Comes a good name, respect, honor towards your family name, towards you, your family, as well as opening, I'm just things that come to my head, connections. We want, when we grow up and have kids, we want our kids to bring honor to our name, not to bring shame to us, right?
Absolutely.
And so, or our businesses, right? We want our businesses to bring honor to our name, not shame. We want the ability to have a business and all that. And so, a lot of people, even we sometimes want the things that come from having that.
Yeah.
So, whatever it may be, I'll give you an example. Okay, you have a true relationship with Jesus, right?
Hmm.
And because of that, you are filled with the Spirit of God. You filled with the fruits of the Spirit. The fruits of the Spirit, kindness, self-control. And people can tell that you're a patient person, that you're a loving person, that you're a kind person. Now, don't get confused. Just because you read the Bible, don't make you this Holy Spirit filled person. And so people are seeing this, and so a lot of people get confused, and they're like, "I want that,"
Yeah.
which is not bad. The problem is how you go about it. I want what that person has, because when you're a loving, kind, respectable, self-controlling person, people will respect you and love you for it.
Yeah.
The problem is people want the love and the respect from other people. That's what we want. We want that we want to be accepted. We want to be loved. We want to be liked. And so when somebody else is getting that, however it is, whether it's because they got Jesus, or it's because they got a car, they're super rich or whatever, we tend to try to get to that place, but not actually putting the work in.
I got you.
So instead of, I'm making this up as I'm going. So if it don't make sense, then we got a problem. But it's okay. But instead of going through the process of having a relationship with Jesus, we'd rather just post, "I'm at church." And what happens is we turn into our own praisers. We start praising ourselves because nobody else is saying it. So we want people to start saying this, so we start saying that stuff.
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm kind. Look at me. I'm doing this." Like, come on. Like, people start realizing that about me. Start admiring me. Start recognizing me. And we go about it the wrong way. And the problem is, if we just did it the right way, all those things will come. I'm not saying that being admired is bad, but when your focus is just to be admired, you fall into this game of the social media that we're talking about. I want the admiration. Well, people truly admire hard work. People truly admire when someone is disciplined and actually accomplish things. And so social media allows you to put the facade of accomplishment without any accomplishment.
Exactly.
Because I could post a picture, Photoshop it, whatever, put a filter, and I've been working out when I haven't been working out or whatever, and now it's just because I want people to say, "Oh, yes, awesome." Woo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's for sure. I mean, I look at it, I think about it like the 3 P's, right? The 3 P's to your goal would be planning, the process, and then the position, right? And a lot of people, they want to skip the process. And they want to get to the position by only planning it. And the planning is always easier than the process. You can talk about it all you want. I want to be a millionaire. I want to own this. I want to do this. Talking about it is always easier than the process you have to go through to actually achieve what you want to do. So in my own life, I own the landscaping business, and I have talked about it for years that I want to start a business in construction and something outdoors, something with my hands, and the talk about it is easy. It's easy to say I want to do this, I want to own a truck, but the process of having to save up money to buy a truck, save up money to buy a trailer, save up, and be physically able to do those kind of work, to get people and lead people, that's a process that even I am still learning, and it's still something I have to learn every day. But my position that my goal that I want to achieve is worth it more
Yeah.
to go through the process. But a lot of people don't want to experience the process. They just want to talk about it and then somehow skip the process
It's
and
like
have the reward.
it's like I used to say, I hate working out and training, but I love the results when I'm in the game, and
Exactly.
I'm ahead of everyone because I put in the work. And the problem is, I went through I had to learn this, but I was a type of person growing up that I would tell you what I wanted to do. One day it could be I want to be an actor. One day it could be I want to be a professional soccer player. One day it could be I want to work with children. One day, and so I would just talk about all these things. I'd be so excited. I would tell my mom, I would tell my grandparents, this is what I want to do, and I ended up not doing anything. Well, now I'm doing something, but I mean in those times, I wasn't doing anything about it other than just telling people about it.
Yeah.
I want to do this. Okay, that's good, awesome. And of course, there is a difference. There's a difference between telling someone so they can keep you accountable versus just telling everybody, "Hey, I'm gonna be doing this." So just, what do you think? Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, okay, thank you. That's all. And so that's the danger.
Yeah, I agree, because we can fall into, I know even for myself, I have fallen into that where I get excited about things and I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this. And I get excited and I forget that I still am not there yet. Or I still have a long way to go until I get that. Or there's a process I still have to go through. And I know that I've even seen in other people and in my own life where we get excited about an idea and then we don't realize things we missed. Things that maybe we can't necessarily grab onto in the time.
Yeah, because it's easier to talk about something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to just go do this. Oh, look, I did the math. I'm going to do this. Oh, it's easy.
Yeah.
But then you don't realize, okay, it's a Monday morning. You have to wake up at 5 in the morning to complete. You got to actually do it now.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Like,
because when you talk, you can talk, and you can when you talk, you can time travel.
oh, yeah.
Oh, you're already talking about in 10 years from now, you're gonna have this whole thing, this whole huge business, and you're living in that moment.
Yeah.
Of 10 years from now.
Or you spend money like you're in 10 years from now.
Yeah, and you don't understand. There's a whole process. Life is a process.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that get confused as far as when it comes to eternity. Where we're going to spend eternity. A lot of people, they don't serve their community. They don't serve. A lot of people don't want to go to church just because of the fact of, well, I don't need to go to church anyways because, either heaven is here or I'm going to heaven anyways. I'm just not going to do nothing.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on the Lord, kind of theology. I'm waiting on God.
Yeah.
Imagine if we just all waited on God,
They want the stars to align.
Yeah,
and the mountains to move, and then they'll decide.
Yeah, and it's that's just not a way to live. You can't do that. You're gonna end up doing nothing with your life, and it's just a dangerous path and mindset to have.
That's completely true. So I have I heard this thing a while back, and one of the examples I want to give too is, there's a lot of athletes and a lot of sports players. Like I know you always bring up soccer. Like think about Messi. A lot of people want to be like Messi because they watch the highlights and they see every goal he's ever made. But how many of us have watched highlights on every goal he's missed? Right? I mean, how many goals do you think he's missed? How many times do you think he's fallen down and missed goals? Because it's taken a long process to get to where he's become.
Mm-hmm.
And I once heard this story of a kid that went to a camp that his dad sent him to. And he came back, and the dad was like, "Hey, what'd you learn?" And the kid was like, "I don't want to talk about it." And a couple of days go by, and the dad was like, "Well, what did you learn? Like, how was the camp?" He's like, "It was good. I don't want to talk about it." And eventually he was like, "Well, I paid for you to go learn at this camp. Like, what I want to know that you got my money's worth. Like, you learned something." And eventually the kid says, "I don't want to tell you. I want to show you with my actions." Right? Because it's not just about us saying, "Oh, this is what I learned." And even I think with ministry especially, none of us can ever say, "I taught the kids this," or "I learned this." It's our actions. Because I can easily say, "Oh, I read the Bible and I learned that I need to love people." But if I leave and when I have the opportunity to love people and I don't, or I have the opportunity to be patient and I don't, that's just words. That I don't actually have that hidden in my heart. That's just something I say, and I want to point that out, that I feel like a lot of us have fallen in that trap as well on a spiritual level. A lot of us claim to be following Jesus, and a lot of us claim to, we have patience, we love people, we're kind to people, love, joy, peace, patience. But when we actually get the opportunity to like plant those seeds, or to
demonstrate,
and then demonstrate what we preach and what we learn, and like for some of us, our whole lives that we've been raised in church, and 20, 30 years of being in church, and we have those opportunities to demonstrate all those times, and yet we fail. And I get, like, there's going to be times that we make mistakes, but we have to evaluate, are we just talking, or are we actually doing?
And we become into this dangerous pattern of talking and not actually working on it, not doing anything.
Exactly.
And it becomes a pattern, and a dangerous pattern.
Yeah, like, how can you say that you jump on every opportunity to help, the elderly, and then you see people in need and you're like, "Oh, I can't help you." And it's like, yeah, you can. You have time, or you have money, you have resources. And I think that's the thing, is a lot of us want to, especially in church, we want to make ourselves look good, because a lot of people forget that as a church, it's a hospital, right? This is not a event center. This is not a movie theater. This is a hospital that people come in and they feel welcome. They feel that they can find healing. And we want to put on this show as, we're all perfect people that don't make mistakes, and you can come in and we serve, perfect God, and we're perfect. That's not how it is. God is perfect, and we all have to go to Jesus to find the healing and the forgiveness, because we'll never be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But it's through Him that He cleans us, He forgives us, and without that, we're just putting ourselves, trying to put on this facade. What is that called? Facade. I don't know why I said facade. It's not even, the sun's not even out.
But yeah, I mean, that's true, because you gotta actually want it.
Yeah.
Because you can sit in the church, and and that's why it says that teachers are held at a higher standard. Because they're the ones speaking and teaching and preaching to other people about how our lives should be lived, and how supposedly, hopefully, they are living what they preach. And that's because it's very dangerous. That's a very dangerous way to live, of just speaking and not actually doing what you say. And so I mean, whether you're in the church or whatever it is that you want to accomplish or succeed, whatever you have planned, if you're just talking about it, I can tell you right now, you're not going to accomplish it if you're just talking about it.
Yeah.
And so whether it's, I want to have a better relationship with Jesus, that's one too. Okay, God did His part. He already went to the cross and came back to life on the third day. What are you going to do now?
Yeah.
Like, he already did his part.
Well, a perfect example of a leader is Billy Graham. You know, he was a huge evangelist in America and all over. But one of the things that stood out with Billy Graham is that he did not counsel or mentor women. And if he had a woman in his office, he left the door open. You know, he said, I'm not going to have my door closed, and I'm going to call my wife in whenever a woman needs help. And I think that's one example that he showed of taking the next step, not just to say, "Oh, I'm not going to do that." "Oh, I'm never going to do that because I know." He didn't just take the words; he put the actions in there. He said, "This is why I'm going to prove to you. I will never." And now you can see in my actions, I never will have the opportunity to do that. And that's why you see he never had those kind of things come out. Because he led by an example. And his work led to a prophet, not just his words. And I like what you were saying about that. We really need to understand the concept of we all need Jesus. We all need his love, but we're never going to get that just through words or our mom and dad's words or our grandparents. It's a choice we have to make. Our own lives. At the end of the day, it's up to you. Only you. We can't do it. Nobody else can help you besides yourself if you don't want it. And that's just reality. That is the ageless wisdom that was from the beginning of time till today.
And I don't know if we're ending soon.
I mean, we still got a couple minutes, unless you're
done. I'll say one thing to end.
Yeah.
One thing compiled of several things, but we don't do anything unless we actually want it. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
And there's a saying also. There's a saying that you can manipulate however you want, but it's basically saying you got to train yourself to want to train. See what I'm saying? Like that's a whole, because we don't want to, but there's a difference between my body not wanting to and my soul, my spirit inside of me wanting to, which we were talking about last time. But so again, shout out to Rabbi Daniel Lepin. Y'all go search him up. He's awesome. We've been learning a lot from him. And so he teaches from the first 2 verses of the Bible. God is already telling you how the world works.
How the world really works.
Really works, yeah. And so, in the beginning, this is the first 2 verses of the Bible. In the beginning, God created heaven and the earth. And so here he points out, and Rabbi Daniel Lepin, for those who don't know, he's a Jewish, he's a rabbi, and he understands the original language. Hebrew. You know, Hebrew, which is the original language that the Old Testament was written in.
God's language.
The first 5 books. I don't want to go into all that, but and so he points out that the first verse of the Bible mentions heaven and the earth. It mentions heaven and the earth, and then verse 2 completely forgets about the heavens and talks about the earth, and the earth was without form and void, and completely forgets about the heavens. And so he explains that the reason that this happens is because God is trying to tell you something. That, and he explains that the word heaven in that verse is actually, in Hebrew, the word is different. It's actually talking about in a spiritual sense.
Yeah. The physical and the spiritual.
Yeah, the physical and the spiritual. And he explains how spiritual is anything that cannot be measured. So that's even your thoughts, your emotions, that's considered spiritual. And so anyway, so he explains that these 2 verses are already telling you how the world really works. And so he says that the spiritual is eternal, doesn't die away, doesn't fade, nothing. But the earth, the physical realm, that's why in verse 2 it says, and the earth was without form and void. And, you know, in Hebrew it's tohu bohu, and it's a different, not completely different, but different meaning. What it's saying is that the physical realm is not cursed, but in a way it's cursed by entropy. And entropy means that everything will die down.
Mm-hmm.
You leave a car outside for 200 years, it'll rust, it'll die. Humans, our bodies deteriorating as we speak. Uh, you don't clean your house, you don't clean your room, and somehow it ends up being dirty.
Yeah.
And even if you don't do anything, it's gonna end up getting more dirty and more dirty.
Dusty and dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just how the world works. And so he's saying that with that, God is telling you that as long as you're on this earth, all there is work.
Hmm.
We have to work. We can talk all we want, but we got to work. And then he proves that because in Genesis chapter 2, verse 15, the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work. Keyword, work it and keep it.
Yeah.
So this is in paradise. This is before Adam and Eve had sinned. And so work was already an essential part of paradise.
Yeah.
Having something to, and work sounds like such a negative word, but it's not. It's what gives us meaning and purpose and satisfaction, fulfillment. Genesis chapter 3, verse 19, by the sweat of your face you shall eat bread. What he's telling you, this is what he's been saying since the beginning. We have to work. We have to move. We got to stay active. Whatever dreams, hopes, whatever you want to accomplish, you got to work at it.
Hmm.
You want a family, you got to work at it. You want a good relationship, you got to work at it. You want a relationship with Jesus, you got to work at it. You want to be successful at your job, you got to work at it. Whatever it is. You want to be healthy, work at it. I mean, we're already in the January was a couple months ago, and we all set these New Year's resolutions, and it's already like, I forgot about them. We got to work at it.
Yeah.
It's every day. It's every day, and it's the days where you feel less motivated and passionate about. Those are the days you got to push your hardest because it's easy to do it when you're motivated. But when you're not motivated, what are you going to do? So that's all I got to say.
That's good. Yeah, because we're always going to have days unmotivated. No matter, even if it's your dream job, you're still going to have days you're like, man, what am I doing? Hey, this is a hard day. I love my job, but there's days that I'm like, man, this is stressful. Or, man, it's hot outside, And that's just reality. Everything comes with work. And you might enjoy the work, but it's still work. You might be really good at something, but it's still something you have to do. We don't just get to sit on our TVs and sit on our couches and get paid. Right? No, nobody does. Unless they're getting handed free money. But the reality
even
of
that
it,
free money came from somebody's work.
Exactly, and that's a whole other topic of, biblically how that's not biblically, we shouldn't be seeking free money. Because, again, God wants us to work. He gives us the satisfaction of working. We get that whole, we get that enjoyment and achievement when we work. And I know for me, when I get home from a day that I have completed the day of work, I've finished a project and it looks good, the customer's happy, my guys are home, they get paid and they get food, and I got home, I'm like, man, it was a good day. I can rest knowing, man, it is done. And that is satisfying and enjoyment to me. And I think that a lot of people miss out on that because of social media. But I guess my last question to kind of close it is, how do we apply this to our lives? And what are some ways we can train ourselves to want to train?
Well, it's a mindset. And so you got to set yourself up for success. And so tonight, how are you going to set yourself up for success in the morning? Right? I've been trying to, it's hard. It's hard though. But, if one of the things is you want to work on your relationship with Jesus or whatever, you want to work out or whatever, you got to set yourself up.
Yeah.
And, I'm telling you, this is something I struggle with. It's hard. But if you're sleeping late, then you can't wake up early in the morning and do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Right? So you set yourself up. Why is the morning important? Because the morning is the first thing for the rest of the day. So depending on how your morning goes is how the rest of your day goes. And so that's just what I say. Set yourself up for success. And so set yourself up for work. Prepare yourself for work.
Yeah.
Have your clothes ready. And I'm giving these little tips that, like, real life, but I'm talking this. You can apply this to bigger picture stuff, but you can't get to the big picture stuff. You can't do the small stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's good. I once heard somebody say you should wake up earlier on the weekends so the whole week feels like you're sleeping in. I thought that was a cool little and that'd be kind of interesting, Like if you wake up at 6 Saturday, Sunday, and you get to wake up at 7 Monday through Friday, man, I'd be looking forward to the week, right? Like I get an extra hour. But those are like little things that can help, I mean, of course, everyone on the weekend wants to sleep in, but something like that can kind of transform your whole work week.
Yeah.
I would say absolutely just, we have to focus on working. I know we've said it in the past, move in silence. Don't always announce what you want to do. You don't need to announce everything you need to do. Don't post on Facebook prematurely. There's a lot of stuff like that. But learn to plant the seeds before you count the harvest. Because I know that with farming and all that, you ask any farmer, they will tell you the number that they plant is never the number that they harvest. Because there's always things that happen. Maybe animals got into the plants. Maybe animals messed it up. Maybe the sun didn't let some plants grow. So even with like cattle, maybe you had 100 cattle at the beginning of the year, and you raised them up, but 2 of them died because they got sick, right? We don't want to count on, I have 100 of these. I'm going to have them next year, because we never know what the harvest is going to be until we actually go through the process of
because nothing ever really goes exactly how you planned it.
Exactly, and
if that does happen to you, I need to talk to you, because every plan that I've made never goes to plan.
Hey, yeah, I mean, you could have 100 cattle, have 2 die, and then your neighbor gives you 4. It could work out for the better, but you don't want to go promising something that you don't have yet. I think that's just a key thing in life, really. Don't spend money you don't have. Don't promise things you can't do. Don't agree to your time that you don't yet know. I always know that I don't commit to anything until I know I can. Because there's a lot of people that commit to stuff and then they back out and they don't show up, or they're late because they don't know. But I think some of those are key things. Don't spend money you don't have. Don't commit to stuff that you don't have scheduled out. Don't just say yes to everybody. Make sure that your yes means something. That when you commit to something, they know they can count on you, right? That your work means something. Your word means something, right? Because your word is what matters. At the end of the day, your word is the only thing that really you have. Because if people can't take you on your word, then they can't trust you, right? But another thing is just understanding that talking about something might be great, but there's a process that has to happen. And so don't just talk about things, let's do things. Like Nike says, just do it. But I think that's about wraps it up. This might even be something we can talk about again in the future, because I think it's a really good topic, and there's a lot more I think we can get into with this. But that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching.
See you guys next week.
Subscribe, like, comment, add us to your favorites, and have a great rest of your Monday.
Bye.
Goodbye.